It's time to take a stand and stop the sexualization of our children. Action for Canada has created a notice of liability to assist you. The title of this NOL is Facilitating in Exposure of Minors to Sexually Explicit Educational Resources, Activities, and/or Events. The United Nations has mandated that all member nations implement the Comprehensive Sexuality Education Resource. CSE is a learning platform that was developed within the context of a program developed by UNESCO. This so-called resource sexualizes children at the earliest ages possible, and it's no surprise that it's causing great harm to our children, as well as attacking the traditional family unit. According to Section 163.1 and Section 152 of the Criminal Code, as well as the Canadian Centre for Child Protection, it's a criminal offence to sexualize and exploit children. Here at Action for Canada, we've been working to expose this evil agenda and to empower parents, grandparents, and concerned citizens to take a courageous stand. In an effort to assist you, we've created a page on our website where you will find an incredible assortment of information on this issue, including the various programs that have been introduced into our schools. Beyond the Basics is the resource used in Nova Scotia, WIN Sex Ed is used in Ontario, CSE is used in Manitoba, and SOGI 123 is used by the rest of the provinces. By introducing these programs into our educational system, our children and youth are being exposed to sexually explicit pornographic materials in the form of books, magazines, and comic strips. Our kids are also encouraged to become members of organizations that promote sexually deviant behavior and the exploitation of minors. Be sure to take advantage of this notice of liability, which will advise teachers, librarians, trustees, ministers, etc., that they will be held personally liable for exposing minors to any form of pornography or sexually explicit material, as well as any activities or organizations promoting sexual deviancy and the exploitation of minors. By using this valuable NOL, you have the ability to demand that the CSE learning resources be immediately and completely removed from libraries and the education system. That all of the books listed, including titles by the same authors, be immediately removed, and that all educational facilities, including libraries, cease and desist promotion of any and all activities, including performers and clubs that exploit our innocent, impressionable, and vulnerable children and youth. Knowing is not enough. You must take action. Here are some powerful actions you can take to protect our youth, no matter your age or station in life. Pull your children out of public schools and universities. Run, facilitate, join, or help with a homeschool group. Get involved in writing letters and serving notices of liability. Run for office as a school board trustee, mayor, or city councillor. Connect with an Action for Canada chapter near you. We cannot ignore this message. Our children and youth are being subjected to twisted ideologies using social justice as a means to indoctrinate and groom them, and we must protect them. Thank you for taking a stand to protect kids. If you like what we're doing at Action for Canada, please consider making a donation to support our ongoing work. And be sure to join a chapter near you. God bless you, and God bless Canada.
Action for Canada, we unite. Joining hands, let's follow the fight. Action for the Canada, we stand tall. We're love and safe, we can win it all. We are up high.
It's so good to be with you, friends. After having last week off, a warm welcome as you join us for tonight's show. If this is your first time here, you've come to the right place, where we are committed to providing information and resources for everyday Canadians. Our guest speaker this evening is Maxime Bernier, and the topic tonight is the populist movement rising worldwide. It's Wednesday, July 8th, 2026, and this is the Empower Hour. Action for Canada is a national movement reaching out to millions of Canadians and uniting our voices in opposition to the destructive policies tearing at the fabric of our nation. Through call to action campaigns, we educate, equip, mobilize, and empower citizens to take action. We are committed to protecting faith, family, and freedom. Many Canadians are asking important questions about the future of religious freedom, freedom of expression, and the role of the church in an increasingly complex cultural and legal landscape. In an effort to educate, equip, and empower pastors, ministry leaders, and Christians, Action for Canada recently hosted a presentation that is now available on our website. Throughout history, the church has faced many challenges, yet faithful Christians have always risen to meet those challenges with wisdom, conviction, and hope. So we encourage you to watch and share this valuable resource. For those of you who are new to the Empower Hour, I'm pleased to introduce you to Tanya, the founder and leader of Action for Canada. For the past 11 years, Tanya has been raising awareness about critical issues facing our nation, including tonight's topic, where she and Maxime will be addressing concerns that resonate with Canadians who find their voices are not being heard in the political arena. Will you all please help me welcome Tanya Gaw. Hello, Tanya.
Hi, Heather, and thanks so much for that. I'm excited about the show tonight. I'm excited to see what's going on in nations throughout Europe. I'm going to actually share my screen for a moment so that you could see it in person, but I have a couple of updates to give first. There's a battle going on in Saskatchewan, in Regina. I hope that you're on our email list so that you get our call to action campaigns and our weekly emails. They're critically important as we mobilize and unite citizens to rise up against the tyranny, the invasion, the effort to absolutely destroy what our fathers of Confederation gifted us with. And we're in a battle, and it's our turn to battle for our freedoms and our democracies that are founded on Judeo-Christian biblical principles. And so in Regina, the Muslims in one of the mosques, local mosques downtown in Regina, apparently across from City Hall, are wanting to do the call to prayer. They did a test. And of course, that didn't go well with the citizens. And it was apparently the Regina police who gave them the permit. And they were going to do it for a month. And July 10th, this Friday, is the day that they're going to renew. And we've put out this action, and down below we've created a template letter. So we like to do it two ways. We've created a petition you can sign, but it's very, very important to also copy and paste this letter. We've made it so easy for you. You just copy and paste the mayor and city council. We've got Premier Scott Moe. We've got the attorney general. We also have the police chief as well included in this action. And then you send the letter. And number two here is to sign the petition. And we're already up. It's going up today. There's lots of people sharing this. We're nearly at 7,000 signatures. And tomorrow what we plan to do is print off all of the signatures, bring it to the chief of police, bring it to the mayor and city council, and let them know, look, this is in less than 2 weeks. It's just starting to climb. We have 7,000 signatures. The majority of Canadians do not and refuse to listen and be forced to listen to the, I'm going to call it demonic call to prayer. Like it's all about Allah. And of course, in their calls to prayer, when they do their prayers, they are saying terrible things about Christians and Jews. So we're not going to let this be the new normal in Canada. Absolutely not. So please join us. It's very important that we shut this down right now, because they've made efforts here in Surrey a few years ago. People rose up, said no way. But as their population increases, these are the demands that they're going to continue to make. And this is their silent jihad. Not so silent, though, when it's on the loudspeakers and everybody's being forced to listen to it. Now, also last week, I was in court in Kelowna regarding the case over Tyson Cook, drag queen Frida Wales, who had filed a defamation case against Action for Canada in December 2024. Lee Turner did an excellent job representing us. He put all of the facts and evidence forward. Tyson Cook's lawyer, I'm sorry, but they were grasping at straws, trying to build their case. We never said they're trying to use the Rainbow Alliance case where a fella had right out called drag queens pedophiles, groomers, and all the such. And Action for Canada has never done that. We brought attention to an individual who's working as an education assistant and had his videos and social media available one click away on his little Guppies website for children, that these children could access his adult content, which included YouTube videos where he had murdered a real estate agent and a woman in an alley, and with the real estate agent kind of chopped him up, dismembered him, put him through a grinder, was eating him and feeding him to his potbelly pig. We just really believed that this wasn't appropriate, that children would have access to this, and that an education assistant, would make this available without thinking about, the harm that this could cause children who could possibly access it. So the positive thing is that Action for Canada succeeded in Mr. Cook making a good decision and putting these things on private, but there's still, some of the material is still one click away on his webpage from children accessing this, and it should be clearly 2 web pages if that's the business that he's going to continue to be in. And so the court, the judge said at the end, due to everybody that showed up in the gallery, so thank you to everyone. I know it's a sacrifice to you to come on the Tuesday and the Thursday and sit with us, but especially on Tuesday, we filled the gallery. The judge took note. She said this is a matter of public interest. So on September 1st, she will be making her decision, and I will be driving to Kelowna again for that. But this is costing us an extra $30,000 as well. It's a lot to defend the freedom of speech, expression, to defend the identity of women, and to defend the innocence of our children. So please give generously to Action for Canada. We will have a link in the description when we post the videos. And so we really appreciate that. We are fighting on behalf of all Canadians, on behalf of our children and women nationwide. And so anyways, we appreciate your support. Now, as we said, Maxime Bernier, the leader of the People's Party of Canada, is coming on. And I just want to give you a visual of this. Make sure you're on our email list. We always build a page before the guest comes on so that you have some details about the topic that you may not have known before. In 10 minutes with Action for Canada, you can become so well informed, or you can do a deeper dive. But this is what it's looking like. United States, Italy, Argentina, El Salvador, Israel, Slovakia, Croatia, Poland, Colombia. Get that, Colombia just had an election and got what they call a far-right leader. Panama, Ecuador, Bolivia. And up and coming in the United Kingdom, there's Netherlands, Belgium, Finland, Sweden, Austria, France, Germany, Portugal, Romania. Denmark is knocking it out of the park as far as them addressing Islam and multiculturalism. They are shutting it all down. And where they had something like, I want to say 30,000 applications for migrants last year, I believe it was less than 1,000 had applied. And so they're realizing multiculturalism, it was a failure worldwide. I was writing about this 12 years ago, and it's known as a failure worldwide if the host country's values are not being embraced. And if you look up on the internet, you'll see there's a number of reports coming out on Denmark right now. They call it the Denmark model to address immigration and multiculturalism. And the Netherlands and all the other countries I just had mentioned are following suit. Now, I don't want to miss this. You need to go to the People's Party of Canada. You need to click on their policies. You can see right away, these are all the issues that any good sense Canadian is concerned about. The diversity, equity, and inclusion that's allowing immigrants to come and steal jobs and shame Canadians and call out colonialism and, make all these false accusations to undermine what our country is founded on. It is pure wickedness. And the PPC is right out there fighting on behalf of us. You see they're addressing immigration. And then you also see here Canadian identity, ending official multiculturalism and preserving Canadian values and culture. So we've always said the opening to the charter says Canada is founded upon the principles that recognize the supremacy of God and the rule of law, colon. Section 27 on multiculturalism means that that is not a free-for-all for people of every culture to come here and set up their camp. I mean, who in their right mind would think that makes sense? All it means under the charter, because of that colon, it means that every person that moves here from a different culture, yes, there's many people living here from different cultures, but they still all need to assimilate and integrate. And that's what the colon means, that everything that follows must align with the supremacy of our God and the rule of law. And if they don't like it, leave. Okay, we're done accommodating. Every Western world is done accommodating them. And so, I'm really glad and very grateful to hear the shift. And I'm really happy to be able to have this conversation tonight with Maxime. We've been supporting this movement for years, what they call the nationalist or populist movement. And it is taking off. And really, basically, what it is countries and people recognizing that the countries and what they were founded on, which was Christian principles, was a good deal. and that we need to get back to that. So, Heather, with that, would you please introduce our valued guest?
We are so pleased that our good friend Maxime Bernier is joining us once again on tonight's Empower Hour. Maxime is the founder and leader of the People's Party of Canada, and for the past several years, he has been courageously defending Canada's Christian heritage and values in spite of relentless censorship. Instead of running away from the fight, Maxime instead speaks out on the issues that are current and relevant to a society that is more concerned with political correctness than they are with the truth. His platform is rooted in the core principles of freedom, responsibility, fairness, and respect as he seeks to represent the interests of ordinary people. And we're so grateful that he's joining us tonight. Will you all please help me welcome Maxime Bernier. Hello, Maxime. We're so glad to have you back on the Empower Hour.
Hello. Thank you for that nice introduction. I'm very pleased to be with you. It's always a great discussion that we used to have, and I believe tonight it will be another good one.
Awesome. Thank you, Heather, and welcome, Maxime. I believe you're on the road right now. Is that correct?
Yes. I'm on the road, but I have time for you and for every Canadian.
That's awesome. Okay, well, we're glad to have you here. I really wanted to again highlight it's been a number of months since I've had you on. And as I see the growing numbers in Europe and the UK, I'm quite excited about it. How do you feel about that? Do you have any extra information that you can feel are you paying attention to what's going on in Europe and the UK?
Yes, I'm paying attention like you, and there's good news coming from Europe. Actually, last month, a very serious and major study was published by The Guardian, speaking about, they call it right-wing populist political parties in Europe. And the good news is they have the support of 25% of Europeans are ready to vote for a right-wing populist party. And that's great. And in some countries, like in France, in UK, in Poland, they're first in the polls. So it's going very well. But what I must say, that was not easy for them. All that movement started 30 years ago in 1995. And at that time, populist political parties had only 5% of the vote, 5% of support. It took them 30 years to grow to 25% and first in the polls in a lot of countries, like you said in the beginning. So what they did, it's very simple. What you are doing, Tanya, with Action for Canada, that is what they did 30 years ago. They created a strong grassroots movement, grassroots infrastructures, and they were speaking about the real issues that are affecting Europeans, like and recently mass immigration the last 10 years, and because mass immigration is having a huge impact on the national identity,
Yeah.
and they want to preserve their national identity, and mass immigration is destroying the social fabric of European countries. So that's an important discussion that they started 10 years ago, and now more people understand that, they were right. These populist parties, they were right 10 years ago. And now we can see the impact of mass immigration in UK, in France, in all European countries. And people are ready to support them. Also, why are they ready to support a populist party in Europe? Because also the establishment political parties did not speak about that. For them, they ignore these issues: mass immigration, nationalism, the economy. They are in a stagflation in Europe right now, stagnation with inflation. And so and all the money that they're spending with these wars against Russia and other countries, people in Europe don't like that, and the support is going away from the establishment parties to these new populist political parties. So it's very encouraging for us, for the People's Party. And what we are doing right now, it's build that infrastructure, that political movement. The big difference with you and us, Tanya, you are not a political party. When the elections, when we are having an election, we need to vote for a party who share our values. And the People's Party, we are a political party, and we created that party 8 years ago. We had up and downs, but now with the new context, the economic crisis, it's sad to say, but I believe that we'll be in a recession in a year or maybe before that. And we can see the impact of mass immigration and all these DEI policies and multiculturalism. Yes, you're right. When a person is coming here, they need to embrace our values. They need to integrate into our society. But what the federal government is doing, like in European countries, they are promoting multiculturalism, and it's a failure. So the new immigrants are coming here. They don't have any incentive to integrate into our society. But also, the worst, the federal government is giving money and subsidies to them to celebrate their distinction. And now there's why, trying to be part of the society when you can live and don't speak English or French, and being able to be part of your society, of your ghetto in Surrey or Brampton, Ontario. We need to end that. And that's a big reason why populist parties in Europe are raising. And I think our time will come.
I believe that, Maxime. I'm so excited about it. I'm hoping that day that you get a seat, that day that you get 5 seats, will be a massive turn in Canada in that direction. And you see all these liberals and the Conservatives, several of them crossing over and joining the Liberals, being bribed, being maybe given a position that's going to give them a larger pension. I'm like, that's treason. Like, how can you do this to your country when you see what their objectives are, where mass immigration is their new voting bloc? I live in Surrey, and I went for a walk the other day. I walk all the time with my dog, and I actually broke down in tears. I don't cry long. It's usually 40 seconds, but I just cried out to the Lord. I'm like, what is happening? I can't go to the bank. I can't go to the grocery store. There's nowhere I can go. Nobody's speaking English. And I'm not exaggerating. Everybody, all the Hindus are dressed in their traditional wear. The Muslims are now wearing their head coverings. And I have a righteous anger. This is our country. People have been convinced that we don't have a right to defend our country. Well, I don't see the Islamic countries, turning to multiculturalism, or China or Pakistan or India. And it's like, people, give your head a shake. This is an attack. This is all out war that the government has commenced against Canadians. And they're using these immigrants to do it. And rather than appreciate being here and all of the value that they get in that, they come here and their children are instantly taught, and they're taught that that this is not a right to be here, but that instead that, and not a privileged story to be here, but as if they have a right, and that they can take our money and that they can criticize the Canadians who are working hard all week paying for it. It's just a mess. It's just a mess.
And I may add to that, Tanya, also when they are coming here with our new immigration system, you can be a student and international students, and you can apply to have your dad and mom coming here to the country. And after that, that will be your brother, your sisters. That's for us, our policy is very clear on that. No more reunification of family. If you come here, you come here. It's a decision that you took to leave your country and go to another country. And if you want to work in Canada and you're coming here as an economic immigrant, you have the right. That will be okay after our moratorium on immigration. As you know, we want to have a moratorium on immigration. I don't know how many years, it can be 3 years, 5 years. I don't know. We need the time to fix the system. And after that, when we will reopen for immigrants, that will be only economic immigrants, a person that would be able to come here because, an entrepreneur, Canadian entrepreneur, was not able to find a Canadian for that job. But that person will have the right to bring only the immediate family, not the brother, the sister, the grandmom or granddad, only, the wife or the, the husband and the kids. That's it. But now we cannot do that because of mass immigration. We need to just stop that and have a pause on immigration, all kinds of immigration.
And I love that. And Action for Canada in 2023 put a petition out for a moratorium on immigration. And I just reached out to Citizen Go because we've got like 5,300 signatures in 3 years, when this is the hottest topic in Canada right now. Canadians, the majority, want immigration stopped. I think it should be at least 10 years it's going to take for us to clean up this mess, and that immigration, even legally now, as far as I understand and know, is meant that it would be people that align with our values. And the major thing that we need to stop is accommodations. No, we're not going to accommodate a call to prayer. No, we're not going to accommodate you if you're going to be elected to take, an oath on the Quran. No, we're not going to accommodate prayer rooms in schools. It's all about this accommodation. Where in the charter, where in anything did it say that we need to accommodate all of this so that we lose our identity? And so it has to be a fast, hard line stop on that. And that future immigration only focuses on those that actually love what we stand for. And they're going to put the old culture behind and embrace ours. I mean, it only makes sense.
Yeah, and that's what people want. You're right about it. When we started to speak about immigration in 2018, my opponents were saying that I was racist because at that time in 2019, we said we need to have a maximum of 150,000 immigrants per year. That was our proposal, but they didn't do anything. So now we have a reasonable proposal and policy to have that moratorium. But when I was speaking about that, they were saying that I was a racist. They cannot say that anymore because 65% of the population are saying enough is enough. We want a moratorium. We want a pause on immigration. And that's our policy. And I believe that if all these people understand that the People's Party is the only party that is promoting that, we don't do pandering. I don't wear any costume. If you like our policy, support us. And if you don't like our policy, like I said at the last election, don't vote for us because we won't change. That's what we believe. And we are fighting on these values and policies because we believe that if we want to save our country, and yes, I'm saying save the country, because mass immigration plus multiculturalism, it's destroying our country, our social fabric. And look, and also with all the DEI policies, all these woke in court, in our institutions, they are destroying, the country, and I'm so tired with everything that I'm reading in the news. The crime rate is going up. Why? Because we open our doors to everybody without doing any check. So it's crazy. We need to go back to what we did well. We had a very well immigration system 20 years ago, a point system. If you cannot speak English or French, you had very low points, and it was very difficult for you to come to Canada. Now, if you don't speak the language, how can you integrate into our society? You will live in a ghetto, and that's it. That is what is happening. So we are building this party right now after each election, but I'm waiting for the next election. I believe that we will have time to have these national discussion like they are having right now in Europe. Another good news coming from Europe, coming from France, Marine Le Pen, the establishment and the elites did everything for her. She's the leader of the Populist party over there, and they did everything to be sure that she won't have the right to run. And she's first in the polls. She'll be the next president if there's an election tomorrow. So they did everything, and she appealed to all these decisions, and she won that. And she said couple of days ago that she will be the candidate for her party at the next presidential election. And I believe that she'll be able to win. And she's so popular, it's all because of immigration. In France, there's no go zone over there. The police is not going. You cannot, it's too dangerous. She wants to end that. She was a very strong policy and on immigration integration. So that would be interesting. So that's happening in France. And here in Canada, the challenge that we have is the mainstream media is ignoring us. It's like we don't exist. But because of people like you and podcaster, I'm doing a blitz on social media, building the party, building the organization. And if your viewers want to know more about the People's Party, they can always go on our website. Our policies are there. They can also be a member, be part of the change, like I said. And that it's a very tough time. But at the same time, we know, Tanya, that everything that we are doing, it's for the best of our country. And they don't want to challenge us because they know that we will win the argument. And that's why they don't give us a lot of visibility. But with social media, at least we are able to be out there.
Well, yeah, Maxime, thank you for that. And you've said a lot in all of that. And it's very encouraging because it is exhausting being on the front line of this battle, but that our voices are winning. I mean, think about where we were 10 or 11 years ago, and it is not a matter of race. They pull the race card because they think it's going to shame us. And I'm like, go ahead. I'm not a racist. Like, it doesn't even make sense for the people that are my friends that are people of color. Like, the only one that recognizes or uses, the color of somebody's skin is the devil, as far as I'm concerned. God doesn't care about our color of our skin. He cares about the condition of our heart. And this is a culture war. You cannot. Multiculturalism was never meant to succeed. It was an attack against Christian countries to destroy our democracies because we are the only ones that truly had freedom and democracy to offer. And so that's number one. This is a culture war that they've brought on. So about Marine Le Pen, I hadn't heard that news yet, but I'm so grateful because I know, was it a year ago or maybe two, time goes so fast, where they had threatened her that she was going to be arrested and put in jail just to stop her from running. And so, these globalists have really gained a lot of ground, and it just shows you that when people rise up, this is what can happen. And you are staying in the fight, Maxime. You're not backing down. You deserve so much credit for this because I know that you've had smear campaigns and criticized and all the rest of it. But you know what? It's like that. What's that little saying when we were in school? It's like something about something on glue and it sticks to you. Like I'm rubber and you're glue. It bounces off me and sticks to you. We just got to go back to our childhood.
I did remember, the first time we've met I was MP elected from both a conservative MP. You came in my office in Ottawa about 10 years or 11 years ago, and you started that discussion about these subjects 11 years ago. And after that, you were fighting and fighting, and you decided to create Action for Canada with the same ideas that you had 10 years ago, like us, the People's Party, the same ideas, the same platform at every election. But everything that you're doing right now, we can see that we have more and more support. And that's great. And people who are, I know that they are they are suing you in court for what you're doing. But it's a good news. If they do that, they're scared about the truth. They don't want that, and they try to discourage you. But no, we won't stop. We have the truth with us, based on facts and on our convictions. And I believe that our time will come. It's just a question of being patient and working hard.
I absolutely. So let's talk about this mass immigration for a moment. And there'd be one massive fix that we could do that would really give us a breather and a break from everything that we're experiencing. I literally, and I'm not exaggerating, I walk out my door and I think I'm living in India. And this isn't to be critical of anybody. It's a reality. If I wanted to live in India, I would move to India, but I don't. I want to live in Canada. I want to live in Canadian Christian culture in my country, and I want those around me they need to embrace it. And so we have a right to say this and defend our nation. And so right now, I believe between 2025 and 2026, we have upward of nearly 5 million expired Visa card holders. If you were in office right now and had a majority, what would you be doing about that?
Easy, easy. First, deportation. The problem that we have, it's always these temporary foreign workers or international students. They don't respect the contract that we had with them. They came here temporary. Temporary, it's not permanent, it's temporary. So when they have their visa, they want to stay, and they don't want to leave. And what they're doing, they're protesting and telling Canadians that they have a right to stay. They don't have any right to stay. If your permit, after your permit, you cannot, stay in Canada, you have to leave. And if they don't want to leave, we need to deport them. The problem that we have too many people working at the Department of Immigration and Citizenship. We need to take these people, giving them another job description, creating a new department that will call the deportation department, because we need to know who are these people, where are they living. We need to investigate to be sure to be able to deport them. And yes, it's very scaring because a lot of them, their permits will end this year in 2026, and I know that the federal government won't do anything. They have only 25,000 immigrants who are here illegally because they exceed their permit. 25,000, and they're still in Canada. That's the official data. But like you said, Statistic Canada said there's more than 2 million of them where their permit will won't be enforced anymore in 2026. So we need to do something. We need to be serious about that. But the liberals and the conservative, they don't want to speak about that because they're pandering. And for them, all these people are living in the same riding. So when Poliev is looking at the map, and when he's saying that 65% of Canadians saying enough is enough, we need to have that, stop the mass immigration, starting the deportation of these illegals, and being tough on crime. If you're doing a crime and you're not a Canadian citizen, you must be deported. That's what is happening in other European countries. They're changing their laws to be sure to be able to deport them. We need to do the same. But for when he's doing a poll, he's polling on every ridings, being able to know which one he can win. And because the big GTA, there's a lot of ridings over there, a lot of new immigrants. So he wants to please them. He's not speaking about that. He won't do anything about that. We need to be serious. We need to tackle that. And yes, we will. mass immigration, stop mass immigration, start the deportation, but also there's the remigration. It's very popular in Europe. Denmark started that, and Germany and other countries. What is remigration? It's it's a program, a government program. In Denmark, they're giving 25,000 Canadian dollars for a family if they want to leave the country, if they want to go back to their country of origin. So they are giving financial incentives for them to quit if they don't share the values of the new country. So it's happening, and I believe that it's something that we must do also. But first, let's start that moratorium. Let's start the deportation, and after that, we can create a program to give them incentive to leave if they don't like to, if they don't want to be in Canada, if they don't share our values.
Right. And, Maxime, when you talk about that, there was a report from Epoch Times recently that said that Canada ranks 13th globally in wealth and far behind second place of the USA. I mean, we've dropped. And of course, that's because of the wealth transfer, one to the Indians as they try to steal our land and our mineral resources and set that up. That's another topic and issue which you and I have had in the past. And then as well as this wealth transfer to the IMF, World Banks, the United Nations, WHO. All of it is literally robbery, and then we're expected to fund this welfare system. And you've got Muslims here with 4 or 5 wives and their children, and they get more money and more money and more money. And so $25,000 for a family to ship them out is a deal because they're at least, there's reports they're getting at least $50,000 a year. Canadians should never have had this put on our shoulders and the future generations.
Yeah, there's another good news about that. The good news is the poll. And recently, they did a poll because, as you know, Alberta will have a referendum October 19. And they will have, they are having 10 questions, and 6 of them are on immigration. And, I don't remember the name. I think it's Léger Léger. Yeah, it's Léger Léger. They did a poll on these questions on immigration all across the country. One of the question is, can we prefer Canadian citizenship for a job and instead of immigrants? Another question was, can we charge a fees to new immigrants if they want to have access to our healthcare system? And so more than 60% of not only Albertans, but Canadians are saying yes to that. We must prioritize Canadian citizens. What is the means of being Canadians if you don't have any privilege, and immigrants will have more privilege than you as a Canadian. That's very important. We must put Canadian first. And with all these questions that Albertans will have to ask to answer, it is good news because that will put pressure on the federal government to stop all these programs that are free, that we are paying for to immigrants. And sometimes we don't have access to these programs like dental care. They have full dental care. It's all free for them, but not for us.
Yeah, Maxime, you're bringing up the very good points, and Alberta is knocking it out of the park. And I would like to see Saskatchewan, Premier Moe, and other premiers start taking the lead from Alberta and implementing it within their provinces. And a judge had ruled like immigration is not a right; it's a privilege. You don't have a right to be here. The expired visa holders, they need to take an education and go back and make their country stronger. That's it. We're not doing that country any favors by taking their elites and their most educated. And so we've had to focus on that here. We need to focus on our students. If there's going to be a free ride for an education, it should be to our own kids. So Action for Canada has had the privilege of interacting with the Alberta government as well. We've written a report on the threat of terrorism and specifically Islam in Alberta. that's been reviewed, and we've applied to multiple Conservative MPs regarding designating the Muslim Brotherhood as a terrorist group. And so far, the MPs of the Conservative Party are refusing that, but they're doing these performances within these committees. I've seen Frank Caputo taking on Liab or Tiab, what's the Liberal leader's name, over the IRGC. And I'm like, okay, so you're willing to call out the IRGC and say, oh, there should be no IRGC leaders living in Canada, but we need to shut down the Muslim Brotherhood, and you're not willing to sponsor an e-petition. What would you do if I presented you with an e-petition to designate the Muslim Brotherhood as a terrorist group to align with America and other nations who are taking the same steps because what a massive threat they are?
So, Tanya, I won't answer your questions because we are in a review of you saw me in the beginning, we have Canadian identity as a policy. And we don't speak about the challenges that we have with radical Islam. And we are updating that policy right now. So I hope you can ask that question in a month at your next discussion. And maybe, I can reveal our new policy, and I can tell you, we will speak about radical Islam and the impact that it's having on our society. So, and now actually I'm taking a lot of information coming from you, from Action from Canada, and also looking at what other countries are doing. So we are in the final draft of that policy. So I will ask you to be patient, and maybe in a month, invite me, and I'll be able to answer that question very, very clearly.
Okay, awesome. Well, I'm going to look forward to that. This is what I mean, right? As people move forward, as we share our ideas and our concerns, we can move the political conversation. And if the Conservative parties decide to keep the brakes on this, they are going to lose big time. If there was a Conservative MP that really had the convictions in their heart on the issues that the Conservative Party is absolutely disallowing them from bringing forward, I would encourage them to cross the aisle to the PPC. We need courageous leaders. You're going to go down in history. You know what? They probably make a coin with your face on it. I'll help promote that. We need to have some movement here. Now, you had mentioned earlier about elections being difficult for you to participate. We've done call to actions before for you when they weren't going to allow you to be part of the debate some years ago. In one of your emails, you mentioned Bill C4 and C25, and that you had a recent meeting with Elections Canada. Can you please describe what the concerns are about the expanded enforcement powers for every federal party? How does that affect you? And was there any good news coming out of that meeting for the PPC?
Yes, the executive director of the party, Nathan, had with every political party were invited, and Election Canada is doing like every year a meeting like that with the small parties, the big one, the establishment. Everybody were there, and so we had a discussion because it's very difficult for us to follow the rules that Elections Canada is implementing at every election. It's for the big establishment parties. So we are respecting Elections Canada, we are respecting the rules, we are respecting the law, but we did ask for some changes. And the good news is they decided to put a special committee that will listen to the requests coming from small political parties like us, and maybe, and I believe they will bring some changes. For example, if you're a candidate in a riding, you need to have signatures from people living in that ridings. And the big establishment parties wanted to increase that. It's around 100 signatures from people living in the riding. They wanted to increase that to 300 signatures because they want for us, for the People's Party, they want us to have more difficulty to have peoples. So Elections Canada said no to that. That was a good news. It will stay 100 signatures. So they are listening to us. And what I believe, it's at the next election, it will be easier for our candidates to be on the ballot. And so that's why we are working with them. I don't have any details, but they told us that they will have another meetings in a couple of months and they will come back with some changes or modifications. So we'll look at it, but we have a good discussion with them. So that's a good news.
Okay, that is good news. And I really want to encourage people to review the email that I sent out last week preparing for this, because I included a video that was done a few years ago about somebody that was addressing, oh, you're splitting the vote. And I wonder if Europe and the UK and Colombia and the people there, if they concerned themselves about that, if they would have gotten so-called right wing, I'll just call it a right leader to get into office and lead the countries. And it just comes to a matter of that people got to stop voting out of fear or thinking it's strategy to keep voting for the same thing over and over again. In 11 years, the Conservative Party, they do good talking issues. They came out really hard on Bill C9, but some of the issues that super matter, unless the public are really speaking out on it, they refuse to address it. Like the trans agenda. Pierre Poilievre, remember, for the longest time, he couldn't even get it out of his mouth to say there's no such thing as a trans child, and we got to protect our children from the medical industry that's mutilating them. It's just been disgusting the way he hasn't stood up. So what can people do to right now, because we're on this campaign? It's like support, promote, vote, whether it's municipally, provincially, or federally. Start now on within your community of finding individuals, encouraging them to run for office and get out there. So how are you structuring? Is there any changes you're making? You're preparing well in advance for the next election. We don't want to be ready at the 11th hour. You got to be preparing now. So how can people assist you? What can they do?
Yeah, thank you for asking, Tanya. I just want to answer the don't split the vote. You know, I like to say, when you have an apple and you split an apple, you have two pieces of an apple. If you look at our policies and the policies of the Conservative Party of Canada, they are very different. You don't split anything. We are different. Poilievre is not speaking about a moratorium on immigration. He's not speaking about deportations. So we are very different. You don't split anything. And we are not like the fake conservative. We are a real populist movement with populist ideas based on our values that Poilievre and the conservative are not promoting. So it's two different political parties. You're not splitting anything. So that being said, yes, we need to be ready for the next election. The next election may be only in 2029, but what we are doing, we are rebuilding the organization, and we'll have one big associations in every province. So we have one in BC, Alberta, every province, and all these people working with that organization will have the task to find candidates in their province. So we are also looking at our website to be sure that it will be easy to find our policies. And actually also, if you want to help us, go on our website, become a member. You receive or you can just go to receive our newsletter that we are sending every week and be part of the change. So we are building these organizations. You can be part of your provincial organization, PPC organizations, and it's going well because at the last election, we had that structure in Quebec, one provincial organization, and we did a test in Quebec, and we had great volunteers. That was very efficient. We have almost a candidate in every riding in Quebec, except maybe 10 ridings. But, they did a good job. So we want to replicate that in every province. So you can be in your province, part of the action, part of the People's Party. So go on our website, be part of that. And also, Tanya, I will try to be more on social media, more videos. As you know, we have a big support with young male, 18 years old to 35 years old. They're ready to support the People's Party, but a lot of them don't know that we exist. So we need to be in their face. We need to be on social media. And yes, we'll start a campaign on social media in August, more aggressive with more videos. And I believe that will help us to be well known with younger male and female, younger Canadians that are, the future is not so great with them if we don't change the policies, if we don't change the challenges that we have with mass immigration and the economy.
Well, that's really awesome, Maxime. I remember the very first time I was at your first rally when you founded the party in Vancouver. And when I walked in there, it was completely packed. And I could not get over how many youth attended your events. And you're really touching to how they're feeling. They're feeling overwhelmed. They can't find jobs. They can't find homes. It's very difficult for them to support their families and have babies. I have a family. And then the kids that are graduating from school, more and more parents are telling me they could vomit up. There's that image of them vomiting up rainbows because they're so sick of the indoctrination. They don't agree with it. They're disgusted by the division, the pride parades right now with all the nudity. Like just naturally, I think God designs us that there is a moral fiber within us that even when you're now being immersed in this, there's something just repelling against it. And so I'm really pleased to see that more and more of our youth are starting to walk away from that and to realize, but we got to help them out and we got to get them the information. You're 100% right. So I'm super excited to hear that you're taking those steps. And I would imagine that that takes funding. So I know how hard it is to build an organization, to get people to commit to leading within their communities. But I have to stress again, we are literally at war for the existence of Canada. And I know it's summer. I know the noose may slightly be tightened, but is it really? You're going to the grocery store. Groceries have either doubled or tripled. Gas, look at the price of gas. Look at the price of housing and taxes. And, this is all by design, and it's not going to get better unless we get behind someone like Maxime and the PPC party. And that means not just raising up candidates. Our thing says go door knocking, support them financially, and then be the scrutineers on election night. So you're actually overseeing the votes and what's happening within that room. Get into all of these levels of the process so that we can make sure our people get into office. It's critically important to support these people who are putting themselves out there. I mean, have you ever talked to somebody that ran for office? I'm talking to our viewers right now and said, oh man, I was really afraid to do this, but I knew it was the right thing. Think about it if they had even 5 people surrounding them saying, I'm behind you all the way. I'm going to help you raise funds. I'm going to go door knocking with you. We're going to get printed material. It's really, really important that the public get engaged in this in every part of the process.
Yeah, we are. What we want to do, it's a peaceful revolution. And, usually you don't need to have 100% of the population on your side to do that. You need to have volunteers, engaged people, leaders. And, with 10, 15% of the population, usually you are able to do that peaceful revolution. So, and I was saying before, we are aiming to try to have our message in the face of young Canadians. Why? Because it's easier, they're open to our ideas, they are feeling the challenges that they have right now, like you said, but also it's a way for us to reach their parents, because they will go back, they will have discussion with their parents. And I remember during the last campaign, I was campaigning, and ladies came to me and said, Maxime, I didn't know you, but my son told me go and see Bernier, and it's very interesting. So by focusing on young Canadians, we are able also to reach their parents. So that's our strategy. But we need people to be out there. And I like to say that, what is the goal to have the best ideas if you keep them for yourself, if you don't speak out, if you don't tell people what you think, what you believe in? So it's important to speak, to talk, to fight for what you believe, and to be part of Action Canada, or to be part of a member of the People's Party.
That's Exactly right, Maxime. And I want to thank you so much for being on the show. And again, I'm going to reemphasize people sign up for Maxime's letters. I am so encouraged every time I receive a PPC email in my email box because I know it's going to be on a topic that's important to me. I don't feel like we're fighting alone. We've got a party that we can go for, vote for, and people that are really putting themselves out there. His team is amazing. They're exhausting themselves, like the core team at Action for Canada and our chapter leaders across the nation. I mean, we're putting it all out there for you. So we need your support. We need you to get busy within the communities. Sign up for Maxime's social media as well. Even if you don't have time always to read whatever it may be about, just like it and share it. Just move it along, get it moving, because the censorship is unbelievable on our ideas and what it is that we're doing, because the globalists who have been working to put all of this into place and to steal our money and our livelihoods, they are the ones that have the greatest amount to lose. I hope they go to jail as well. But anyways, let's at least stop
Yeah.
funding the tyranny, and let's get a party and that's going to support us and represent us.
And I just want to add on that, Tanya, what you just said about sharing our posts on social media. It's very important because, I'm shadow banned on social media. I'll give you
Me
an
too.
example. I can do a tweet on X, and I will have, I don't know, maybe 100 or 1,000 comments, but somebody will share my tweet, and that person will have more comments than me. And with less followers. So we are shadow banned. So we need you, everybody, if you like something on social media, what I'm saying, or a video, just share it with your people. And like that, we'll be able to reach to more people because we are shadow banned. And that's another challenge that we have.
Yeah, and we go through the same thing, Maxime. On our Rumble videos, we used to get hundreds of thousands of views, and those have gone down. So we're always saying, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to our YouTube and Rumble channels, share our information. My Facebook, it's just pathetic. All of a sudden, one day I'll have 1,000 views and it disappears. People have been on my X account and said, as I'm looking at it, it disappears. Like just really funky, strange stuff. The petition on a moratorium on immigration, a guy who had a Hotmail account reached out to me the other day and said, I went to sign and it wouldn't accept my email. So, that it's what's happening. And that's also why we need to meet with elected officials. They've been heavily lobbied by one side, whether the Muslims, whether the Sikhs, whether the LGBTQ community, and they've been pandered to as they have self-victimized or whatever the motive is. And so as we go in and say, actually, did you know, and we provide evidence of truly what's going on and what they're supporting, we're seeing a shift. So knowledge is power, and as that shift takes place, and as we do this with the public as well, as they're educated on the issues rather than blindly going along with something that they're hearing, that shifts their vote. That's also
Yeah.
where the underlying populist vote begins to rise up as well. So everything that we're doing in educating the public, in putting ourselves out there and doing these kinds of interviews, they're going to fall flat if we don't have. This is what our viewers and our members can do to really support us. So Maxime, finally, I see we're coming at the top of the hour. You're going to be traveling some this summer. I know that it's not quite up on your website just yet, but how can I know that people would love to know in advance if you're coming to town so that they could come out and support you and meet you. What's coming up? What's coming up this summer?
Yes, yes. I'll be in Alberta the first week of August and the second week of August, traveling over there, doing rallies. And also, maybe I'll be after that in BC, but for sure in Alberta. And you'll see all the details maybe in 3 weeks. In 2 weeks, it will be on our website, all the details. So go on our website and you'll be able to see that. Not right now, but we are still working on the agenda. But as soon as we have the agenda, it will be public, and I will tweet about it also on social media. We'll invite you. It's open for the public. Every night I'll do a rally and speak about the most important for us, immigration and everything that is affecting our country. So I will let you know, but it will be on our website as soon as we have the details.
All right. Well, that's wonderful. We really appreciate that. Have you got any closing comments or encouragement for our viewers?
But first, I want to say that what you are doing, Tanya, you started that long time ago. Like I said in the beginning, we had a meeting in my MP
Yeah.
office when I was a conservative, and you always fought for what you believe, and that's a nice example. So we are able to grow our movement. You are growing the movement, Action for Canada. I'm doing the same thing on our side. So, but we need you. We need people being engaged, fighting with us, because yes, we are the face. You are the face of Action for Canada. I'm the face for the People's Party, but we have candidates all across the country. We need your support. Go read, inform. When you're informed, you are able to do that battle of ideas. And yes, we are in a cultural war. We need to win it, but we will win it because it's happening in Europe. They started that 30 years ago, and we started that 10 years ago. And now, they're winning in Europe. It will come to Canada. We need you guys and ladies. So be part of the change. And thank you for your support. If you want to know more, go on our website, peoplespartyofcanada.ca.
All right. Awesome, Maxime. Thank you. Thank you. We love you. We support you. And we'll have you on again in about a month. So we're looking forward to that.
Yeah,
All the best.
yeah.
God bless
That
you.
will be a nice opportunity for me to publish the update policy with you, Tanya.
I love it. Well, God bless you and everything that you and the team are doing.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Have a nice evening.
Bye. All right. Well, that was awesome. I feel so pumped and encouraged. If you hear that, the UK, Europe, they really were. The wave started over there on the downfall of the UK, and then it came to America through Obama and Biden, and then through Justin Trudeau, it just kind of catapulted. And Mark Carney, who they inserted him. And, we're dealing with that as well. But I think all things will be exposed. The Bible says that there's nothing hidden that will not be exposed. And that means the evil that's going on and those that are accountable will be held to account. And so we're just going to count on that. I hope that you will please share this incredible interview with everybody that you know tonight. Have faith and be courageous. Don't vote in fear. Vote with your convictions. And I'm really serious about rallying around people within your community who could run for office. Now is the time to get ready. I've said previously, we have 4 provinces that have municipal elections that are coming up. You can find those on our website under current issues. Just go to the elections link. And I know that BC, I won't even go into them. I thought BC, Manitoba, don't quote me on that. Just look at our website. Whew, so okay, that was good. Who are we having on next week? But Steve Merrill will be joining us. I went, what's up with silver? It's kind of a play on words because you know that all of a sudden silver shot up to $150 an ounce Canadian. And, it's projected that it's going to go to $300 an ounce, even up to $600 an ounce to properly offset what the price is with gold. And so we've been hearing about this for years and years and years. We know that many of you probably bought maybe when it was $23 or $28 when Action for Canada first started having people on the show to talk about this and encourage you to think about your future because the fiat system, the money system is, it's pretty sketchy. The banks are in bad situations. The government has has included a bank bail-in, not a bank bail-out in the budget, which means that they're coming for your money in your accounts if things really do go south. So we really wanted you to be protected, and we're not giving you financial advice. We've always wanted to educate you on what's happening. And so the price of silver has fallen. I think I last looked a few days ago, it was at $88 because JP Morgan and the others were like freaking out because they don't want citizens actually prospering from this because of their little money grubbers and JP Morgan already has had charges against them for the price fixing and what they've done. And so Steve is going to come on and saying, don't worry, like it's at $88, but silver, if you look at history, it's always going up. So maybe you kind of got in and thought, yeah, I'm going to get in at $1.20 or $120 an ounce. Well, just don't panic. We've seen the history. And it is just constantly going upward. Yeah, it'll come down a little bit and then going back up. So we just want to help educate you again on what's happening. Some of the things that's happening with the banks. I'm going to tell you about a personal experience I have from somebody that I know, where their accounts were accessed that included, get this, when the government wants your address, they want your birth date, they want your social insurance number, and they want your account numbers for your investments. Well, guess what? It all got hacked last August, I think 11th. And the individual I'm talking about didn't find out until January. And then they said, oh, but don't worry because, we hired expert IT people to get on this. And I'm like, why didn't you have expert IT people when this is our money you're talking about? And they want us to go to a banking ID system? CBDCs, like, no way, don't fall for it. And another thing is use cash. When you're paying for things, we got to do everything that we can to fight against this. So be sure to join us next week. I'm looking forward to that. And the two Bible verses tonight are from Proverbs 29:2. When the righteous thrive, the people rejoice. When the wicked rule, the people groan. And aren't Canadians doing a lot of groaning over the last 11 years because, a lot of them really weren't paying attention to who they were voting for 11 years as the Liberal Party gained a majority. However, that came to be. And so the second verse tonight is from Psalms 33:12. Blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord, the people he chose for his inheritance. And so isn't that what I've been challenging as well over this last while is you got to pick a side, right? Canada is indeed factually founded on Judeo-Christian biblical principles. Our fathers of the Confederation gifted us through the British Commonwealth system. People will have knee-jerk reactions against this because of the government's marketing schemes to demonize our heritage. And you know what? It should be exactly the opposite, because what they're doing by demonizing that is part of the strategy to bring in other systems that are going to cause us so much harm. Like you got the Khalistani Sikhs and the Hindus, the Bishnoi gang that are out shooting up our forests with submachine guns, and the Sikhs walking around with their swords, headlines of them murdering people from all of these different groups. Machete fights the other day in Victoria. A woman murdered in Ontario. Another semi-truck has crashed into individuals and people have died. And it's like, how long are we going to go on with this to say it out loud and say it rightly, is that not all cultures are equal. The other belief systems that support those cultures are actually based on false gods and demons. And so Canada was founded on biblical Christianity, and we always treated people fairly and kindly, and we didn't put up with this kind of corruption. So you really need to pick a side, and I'm going to encourage you to do that, because I don't want to groan in Canada anymore. I want to celebrate, and I want to celebrate our heritage. And
spread your feet for me. Do you have any weapons or anything on you?
I'm not sure where that came from. Anyways, I want to celebrate our heritage and what God has gifted us with, and He's asking us to get right with Him. So that's my little sermon for the end of the night. Thank you for joining us. I pray that you will give us a thumbs up and share this information. God bless you, and God bless Canada.
In times of financial uncertainty, safeguarding your assets is increasingly important. In response to ongoing inflation, economic challenges, and market instability, many Canadians are adopting the timeless strategy of investing in precious metals. Historically, gold and silver have held their value, safeguarding your assets against economic turmoil. Action for Canada is pleased to announce our partnership with Steve of Sun City Silver, providing valued members of A4C with expanded investment opportunities designed to help you achieve your financial goals. Steve is an ally of the Freedom Movement, and he's offering members of Action for Canada exclusive access to some of Canada's premier prices. By leveraging his connections with Silver Gold Bull, you can access competitive rates for securing your precious metals. Silver Gold Bull is a trusted Canadian leader, offering live pricing 24/7 and boasting nearly 400,000 five-star reviews on Trustpilot. For an order of $5,000, be sure to indicate you're an Action for Canada member and receive a complimentary 1967 silver dollar, courtesy of Sun City Silver. Expand your collection further by referring a new customer who places a similar order, and Steve will reward you with a special bonus thank you gift. Your purchase with Steve is a dual investment. You invest in your future while simultaneously supporting the Freedom Movement with a percentage of each sale benefiting Action for Canada. For more information, be sure to visit actionforcanada.com/purchasing-precious-metals/. Secure your assets, protect your future, support Action for Canada and the Freedom Movement. The information presented is for educational and informational purposes only and is not intended to provide financial, legal, or tax advice, as we are not licensed financial advisors, accountants, or attorneys and cannot provide professional counsel. Be advised that the content and information provided does not create a client relationship. We recommend you consult with a qualified professional advisor before making any financial, legal, or tax decisions. Please note that Action for Canada is not responsible for an individual's financial outcome. Remember, your decisions are your own, and we recommend doing your own research before making any investment.
Chapters across the nation. We are going to be in every town and every city, and we are going to build communities within these communities of like-minded people who are actually going to care for one another again and love on each other and give each other the help when they're down. We are going to use the teams and the people that build within chapters to support our businesses. The government's actions are completely 100% unlawful. Judgment will again be found on justice, and those with virtuous hearts will pursue it. You have a virtuous heart if you are here today pursuing freedom and righteousness. And then verse 23 comes along with a promise. God says He will turn the sins of evil people back on them. He will destroy them for their sins. I take great comfort in that because I serve a mighty living God who has allowed us to go through this season of discomfort because we as a nation had turned our backs on Him and we need to get right. So I am just going to thank you so much. I'm going to say God bless you and God bless Canada.